Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So my new Stellargy finally arrived and I have started like setting it up and transferring some of the information from my standard TN. But I did get a few requests on Instagram to show, like, do a flip of how I used, whatever I ended up using in this standard TN, but also to just kind of talk quickly about whether it worked for me or not. So it's gonna be a really super short video because I was literally only in this for like 5 days. So this monthly calendar, which I showed you guys, is like very traditional bullet journal style, did not work for me. And like I said, when I was doing this setup video, I forgot that I had actually already set up a monthly here, which is more like, a traditional calendar. I didn't really need to reference it because I was, only in there for the first week. But I think this calendar definitely would have worked for me if I had, needed to use this size going forward. My brain just does not function like this at all. So yeah, this style of calendar is definitely not for me. It's not something I would ever look back at or refer to, unless, like after the fact, if I wanted to have a quick look at something, then yes. But as an ongoing calendar, definitely a big no-no. The other thing, as you can even see here, is I really had trouble writing in this because the pages just don't, stay flat. Like, I'm so used to being in a Stellargy where, when you're writing, the book just lays flat, until maybe you get to the very end, then it might kind of start bulging. But this is just, I found really ridiculous. Lots of people said to me, kind of just bend it backwards and that will help. And it did help a little bit. But I think also having like laminated dashboards, doesn't help in terms of keeping it flat. I think if you had like a thinner insert with like Tomorrow River paper and less pages, and like the binding was not, as thick, you'd probably have a better time. Like, I think if it was a stapled insert, that would have been better. But yeah, it kind of did my head in, and yeah, I did not like that aspect of it at all. The weekly, once I had like set it up and put in everything I needed to, I didn't find myself looking back on this, which isn't that surprising because in my Stellargy I generally don't use a weekly insert anyway, so I'm just not used to referring to a weekly insert. For me, not necessarily this week, but for the following weeks, I definitely would have needed some kind of, timed insert. So maybe in the following weeks, it would have been more useful. But yeah, this week, once I had kind of set it up and planned out like breakdown of my day, like this was my sister's wedding day, and I was just working backwards, like, okay, what time we'd have to leave and, things like that. I found it a bit redundant to use as well. So this was the first day I used it, and it was very chaotic, I guess is the word. I was trying to go for like the traditional bullet journal method where, you just have a blank page and any notes you want to take, you write it down. And then if something comes to your mind that needs to get done, you put that down. And obviously they have a symbol system, right, in the bullet journal. So like, you might put a square for something that needs to get done and a circle that is an event, or a star for a note. So that's kind of how I tried to do it. But it just was all over the place for me. Like, I needed to go to town, so I kind of made a list of things I needed to get done. And then I put a reminder here just to note that I had a YouTube video going live. And then I had like a list of, just things that were going to happen that day or needed to get done that day, so that I could tick them off afterwards. So I didn't have any of these on there. I just wrote a list. Then I remembered some other things I needed to do in town, but obviously there's no space there. So I followed the bullet journal method where you just continue down the page. So And then that happened, you know, there's a few more things to get done, and then some more things I needed to do in town. So I ended up having like, you know, 3 different places on one page. And it just, yeah, I just had to rewrite stuff basically on like, this is just like a note paper pad from Coco Daisy. I just ended up writing it on here in one list because, yeah, and I don't know if I'm doing this wrong, if there's another way that people are able to manage, you know, having, like, if you've forgotten to add something to here, but you've already started writing. I don't know if there's some other way you're supposed to manage continuing that section. But for me, it just didn't work. It was just way too broken up. You know, obviously you just go through the list at the end of the day and you can, you know, it's easy to check things off in terms of what got done and didn't get done. But yeah, I did do my meal planning at the bottom and gratitude, but this was like so chaotic and it just didn't work for me at all. So I thought, like, I kind of relied on sticky notes that day. I thought, okay, you know what, I'm going to actually, and there was loads more sticky notes here as well that I transferred over. But basically, what I did is the next day I thought, I'm going to go back to my traditional timed dailies. So I think I had already started writing something on that day before I decided to do it. So that's why the timed is on the bottom, but it doesn't really matter. Like, this could have been up there. It doesn't make a difference to me. But I much preferred this because, for example, if I had put here, go to town, I could have kept this list separate over here. So I could have put town and then banking and buy this and buy that and buy this, so that I could just add to it and it's all in one place rather than in different sections. And then a running to-do list at the top. It just was like, this, I would say, was just a much more productive day, and I just felt comfortable, I guess, the first time using this planner. And this is probably how I would have continued. So I honestly thought having a timed weekly would be enough, and then I would just keep a list of things to do on the page, but that doesn't really work for me. I do need timed dailies on the same page. So this is how I would have continued using it, like a timed daily and then a list of things to do. I didn't end up needing 2 pages in terms of writing on them, but obviously I had like tons of sticky notes and stuff that I was just, because I hadn't set my week up, I was thinking, oh yeah, at some point, like, I need to return library books, and I had nowhere to put it. Like I said, I kind of forgot about this, so I didn't put it on there, but really I could have put like return library books on this insert. But because I'm not used to having a weekly, I just ended up keeping post-it notes and things like that. So yeah, I ended up just using lots of sticky notes, but I didn't need 2 pages per day. And then Thursday was my sister's wedding day, so I kind of just marked that with the time and the postcode of the 2 addresses we had to get to. I just had another post-it note here, and then just a to-do list, or like don't forget to bring kind of list. So that was fine. I didn't really have much planning to do. Friday, my Stalogy arrived. No, I think it arrived that day, but it wasn't because it's not set up, I intended on just carrying on using this, but I didn't really have any plans, so I just put like the one thing that we did have, which was like a local not back to school picnic that we do every year with other home educators. And then I just kept a running like summary of, you know, how the day was spent. And again, I did have another sticky note. I think I just added that this morning, where I was just quickly writing down things to get done this weekend that I haven't, you know, that I will just put into my Stalogy now. So yeah, that is basically it. I did keep some notes at the back because I've got some stuff I need to sort out. I think that the day I was taking those notes was this day, and I could have just taken them here, but anyway, I just decided to keep them at the back of the planner. But that's kind of it. Overall, I think I didn't, you know, obviously use it long enough to give it a fair shot, but it's just, yeah, I missed my Stalogy, I missed my time dailies. This kind of size is not really working for me in this stage of my life. You know, it has in the past, and I'm sure at some point again in the future I would love to come back to this size. And yeah, I think also because my weeks were not you know, typical weeks where I'm using like timed dailies, I struggled to kind of find my groove, because I still do maintain that if you have your system down, you can apply that system to any planner. So like, you know, I could do a time daily at the top and to-do list at the bottom like I did here, or I could do a timed on this page and a to-do on that side. And I think that's probably what I would do. I think trying to have a weekly, which is not my system, didn't work for me. And that's a good kind of lesson for me, that I should stick to what I know works for me, which is timed dailies. So yeah, in the future I would do a time daily on one page and a to-do list on the other, or on days that are just not very busy, have them on the same page. But overall it was a fun experiment. Yeah, it was fun to use something different and see whether, you know, I can make it work. I am actually going to remove all these sticky notes, because some of these things I still need to process and get done. And yeah, I'll leave that in there. I will just put them into my Stalogy and shelf this standard TN. So yeah, I'm sorry for those of you who were looking forward to me being in this planner for a lot longer than I was. It was a fun experiment while it lasted, but I am so happy to be back in my Stalogy. And sorry, I'm just removing all the tons and tons of sticky notes that I have everywhere, because I just, look at that, just addicted to using sticky notes. So yeah, I will see you guys in my next video, which will be probably just a quick flip of my Stalogy setup. It's not going to be anything like super interesting, just because, yeah, it will be just a basic quick setup. So I will see you guys in my next video, and yeah, bye.